All right, we had some issues with the audio last time. People were saying it had a lot of gain in the mic. So if someone can chime in on the comments, tell me how the audio sounds. I found a new feature on the wireless mic that I wasn't aware of. So if you can comment in how the audio sounds, that would be awesome. Because obviously I can't replay it to myself. Good. Awesome, Scott. Thank you. Thank you, Mountains. All right, let me make sure I'm set up. So, is it a little loud? I can go down just a little bit. Is that any better? Perfect. There we go. All right, so headline of the show tonight. Again, trying to make them a little bit faster. Last time that didn't work out. I thought I was going to have a real quick little session with you guys, and an hour later we were still talking. So anyway, let's get to it. So a lot of times the question comes up on beginner TIG boards or beginner welding boards, or even on like the Everlast page. Someone will have a MIG machine. They buy their first TIG, and they ask if they can TIG weld with C25. So let's go ahead and try it out real quick. So I'm set up on my 325 EXT. I'm running 20 CFH of C25, which for you that don't know, that's 75% argon, 25% CO2. So I can see why there is some confusion because it is 75% argon. And a lot of times people will MIG weld with pure CO2. So C25 is a pretty common MIG welding gas, though. So I'm already set up. Let's start out. This is some 6061 1/8" aluminum. Let's go ahead, switch over to the torch cam. I don't know why the menu is popping up. I can't get it off. It'll go off for like 5 minutes and come back on. So there's that. It's always got to be something. All right. So we're running 20 CFH of C25, running AC on some aluminum. Let's try it real quick, see what we get. Looks great, doesn't it? Really can't get anything to happen. So I've got some stainless right here. I'm not even going to change the point on my tungsten. I'm just going to arc up on it. And that's barely rolling into the pedal. You can see it's melting the tungsten pretty bad. So now let's give you a close-up real quick. Here's our aluminum. Obviously, nothing really to show there. Pretty dirty, pretty nasty. Really can't even get an arc to start. And then there's our stainless weld. Once again, really couldn't even get an arc. It was just blowing out the tungsten. And that is because there's CO2 in that. The CO2 will contaminate the tungsten. It's not a pure environment. So swap out tungsten real quick. Now, granted, I didn't change over to DC on the stainless. Doesn't really matter. It's mainly showing you, even on AC on stainless, it'll still form an arc. You'll just hear the AC buzz. Obviously, we couldn't even get an arc to really start. So let me switch bottles real quick. How did we hook Bob Moffett? Bob's been a long time friend of Everlast through our partnership with Weld.com. So we've been buddies with Bob for a long time. All right, so I'm switching off my C25. We'll switch over to some pure argon. Obviously, it's going to work a lot better. And then I'm going to show you guys the gas mix that I actually use. It is not a helium mix. It's actually pure argon with 200 parts per million nitrous oxide and 200 parts per million oxygen. We'll kind of show you the difference on argon and this the tri-mix that I use. All right, so we're set back up. 20 CFH of pure argon. Run this bead right next to our previous start. So I'm running 121 amps, 121 hertz, 35% balance. We're a little bit cold. But for the demonstration, it'll work just fine. Who counts the parts per million? Someone with a lot more time than I have. So here we go. Pretty standard AC run, obviously. Not really much to show on DC. I mean, it'll look, it'll look like a DC run. So you can see though, let me get a little bit better lighting on this. Pretty decent bead. We can get, you see the etching there. So now I'm going to switch over to my tri-mix gas that I use. I say tri-mix, it's actually not called tri-mix. Different companies, different gas suppliers have a different name for it. Personally, I use AWG as my gas and consumable supplier. They actually don't have a product name for it, so to speak. It's just a mixed argon blend for aluminum. But like Praxair calls theirs Stargon AL, which if any of you guys have been following me for a while, you know I've preached about Stargon AL quite a bit in the past and what it can do for you. So this is a similar blend to the Stargon AL from Prax. It's just from AWG. Go ahead and put these caps on before I knock one of these over and start my own space program. Now this does flow a little bit different through the regulator, so you will have to adjust if you're going from pure argon to this nitrous oxide mix. You'll have to go up and flow just a little bit. But again, we haven't changed anything. Balance is the same. Frequency is the same. Same amperage. But we're going to notice a little bit of a difference on this next run. And this will be why I use this gas. All right. So the arc using this mixed gas with this nitrous oxide and oxygen blend, it's a more stable arc. You get a little bit better starts, and it actually burns very similar to a hydrogen blend, or not hydrogen blend, sorry, helium blend. So you'll get less etching, you'll get a more consistent etching line, and then yeah, it's just more stable. So it runs a little hotter too. So one of the reasons I switched this gas originally when I was using Praxair is because we were looking for a little more heat out of our machines, and we didn't want to spend the money on a helium blend because helium, I don't know if you guys have checked, is absolutely insane right now. And that's a whole long story why it is. But this gas was specifically created to mimic a helium blend. So let's take a look at this on the up close cam. So here we have our pure argon run. You can see the etching line pretty distinctly. It's a little erratic, whereas you come over to the mixed gas, etching line is a lot more consistent. It's a lot smaller, maybe half the size, maybe even less than half the size, but much, much more consistent etching. So just something to think about. That's one of the cool things with welding. There's a lot of, it's one of the challenging things too. There's a lot of variables you can introduce. Your cup sizes, your tungsten sizes, your tungsten types, your cup types, you know, standard versus gasolines cups, your flow, your amperage, your balance, your frequency, everything. Even, you know, your gas, the amount of gas flow in your type of gas. I'll give you that 1 second, John. So that's one of the cool things, though, especially with the modern inverters. You have so many options with your setup. That's like we were talking the other night when I was going through, like, do settings matter? Is it the welder, the machine, or the welder, the person that really matters? And I think we pretty definitively showed that it was it's the welder, the person running the machine, not the actual machine and what it's set to. As you know, we ran some wildly settings and had, you know, the same results. So, but if you are looking for a little more heat out of a smaller machine, or you're looking to reduce your etching zone, you'll also, it's hard to see on camera, but the that mixed gas gets a lot better shine on the weld as well. So even burning a little hotter, you still get a lot better shine on your aluminum welds. And it still works just fine for stainless. So it's kind of a do-all gas. Yes, Sam, you can MIG weld with that mixed gas. And for those of you that are just joining, we're running a bead with pure argon that's mixed with 200 parts per million oxygen and 200 parts per million nitrous oxide, and showing the differences here. But yeah, you can MIG weld with that. It works just the same. It's a lot cleaner. I think you get less like spatter from it. And that's something, I mean, not really set up to do that super fast right now, but I don't want to keep beating a dead horse with aluminum, but that's 99% of what I do, guys. We are going to start some other projects here pretty soon, some bigger projects, and show you guys working on those. But yeah, definitely works the same for MIG as well. Was HeliArt pure helium gas welding? John, yeah. So back in, I would say, like the 50s, when TIG was kind of invented, yeah, it was pure helium until they discovered that argon works as well. You know, and helium blends are still super popular. You know, like a 25% helium blend or 30% helium blend, 50% helium blend. Man, it really ups the perceived output amperage of your machine. And you can even weld aluminum DC with helium, and that burns super hot and super fast. So yeah. Let's see. That actually was fast. I was just I thought we might take like 25 minutes, but here we are 15 minutes in, and that was it. Nice little check-in. For those of you guys that don't know, I actually quit my day job Friday. I'm now working for myself 100%. I say that I am going to pull some part-time hours with the aerospace shop I was at to help them, and also keep up on my certs. I'm working a lot more closely now with Everlast as well, so I'm way more available than I was previously. And so with that, and with this setup we have here, if you guys do want like a welding lesson or something like that, please hit me up. That is why we have 3 cameras, an arc shot cam, my laptop, a display monitor over here. You can we can do some pretty cool things, and one of those things would be to do like a Zoom call type of thing where I can watch you, see your results, kind of critique you a little bit, help you out. So that's something we want to do, and I will do. To sum it up, a welder doing all the aluminum argon. Argon is a juice. Yeah, Bo, I mean, argon for TIG obviously is kind of the standard gas. I mean, you can do everything with argon. This mixed gas that I use, you can use it on everything TIG wise. I haven't MIG welded steel with it before, but I've done a lot of aluminum MIG work with it, and it works great. The price, negligible. When I was buying gas from Praxair, we were like a tier 1 account at my previous employer. I'm not supposed to mention them, I was told. When I was working in the automotive performance industry for a supercharger company based out of Lenexa, Kansas, we were a tier 1 company, so we had our best pricing. It was like 60 cents a bottle difference for a T bottle. Through AWG, I think it's about a $5 a bottle difference. I think I'm getting a T bottle of argon for like $48. I'm getting a T bottle of the hot mix for like $54. To me, it's worth twice that much. It's awesome. It's an awesome gas. It's really changed the way I welded. It just welds a lot cleaner. It really, really tightens up that etching line. So it's one of those tricks. I haven't really shared that on here, I don't think yet, but that's one of the tricks to some of the aluminum welds I do. It's part of why they look as good as they do sometimes is the right gas mix. So yeah. So you guys have any other questions? I don't know, anything I can show real quick. I mean, we got enough time. I could swap around some things if we want. I know there's been a lot of ask for anodized using like the bump method. I've got our buddy Bo here. He's sending me some aluminum, some anodized aluminum scraps, so we can kind of show working the bump method. Who did I talk to about running I know we did a long episode on the trigger, on the finger switch. I was talking to someone about doing like a pulse video using the finger trigger, which it's kind of hard to see, but I've got a big tube chassis project here in the shop. Look at that little diversion. You guys will actually see that machine coming up in an ad that we shot 2 weeks ago. I borrowed my buddy's diversion to compare it to a 210 EXT. So that's why I have a Miller in my shop. But yeah, we got this big tube chassis truck in here. So I was going to show some MIG technique, welding tube with that, and then also show a lot of like out of position, where you can't use a pedal, using that finger switch to go around tubes. So that'll be coming up here in the next couple weeks. John, yeah, that aluminum blend, that Trimix aluminum blend, it helps out a lot welding cast. I was using it the other week when we were doing those cast aluminum repairs, and it helps out a lot. Corey was the pulse guy with the switch. Yep, Corey. I thought it was him. There's like 3 of you that I talk to all the time. I thought it was Corey. So yeah, we can do that next week. Richard, the trade name. So I come from the performance automotive world and then the aerospace industry more recently. D17, the AWS does not recognize that Trimix under the D17 code as a usable gas. I personally am working on that here locally to get that to be reconsidered because it's a game changer. But Praxair calls it Stargon AL. You might have some trouble with a lot of the floor guys in your local pracs not knowing about it. I've been using that I started using that like maybe 6-7 years ago, and I still run into people at my local prac store that don't know about that gas. So Stargon AL is the prac's name for it. As far as like Matheson or Air Gas, or like Lambton, some of you guys have. I personally have not bought gas from them ever, so I couldn't tell you if they even carry that mix. But AWG, American Welding Gases, they do have it. I always tell my rep, hey man, I need some more of that, hot aluminum mix. And again, if you just tell them it's the argon and then the oxygen nitrous oxide mix for aluminum, those guys are really good. They should know what you're talking about. Yeah, Richard, I actually haven't used the Nova slider yet. I'm either a pedal or a finger switch guy. I can't, that's too much going on trying to run the slider. That's too much for me. That exceeds my brain power. But yeah, nice short night. Had some complaints that there's 10 minutes of info in an hour-long video. So here's 12 minutes of info in a 25-minute long video. Is that better? Anyways, guys, again, if you guys want some private help, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you out using this camera setup. Oh, and Bo, if you look up on 6061.com, that guy's got an awesome YouTube channel, by the way. But go to 6061.com. He actually has a pressure-sensitive button that works a lot like a foot pedal. So that's an option too. I wouldn't mind getting one of those in and trying it. I've heard a couple people have had really good luck with them, so I wouldn't mind trying that. Yeah, argon works fine, Richard. It really does. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's been the industry standard for going on probably, 30 years, 40 years. So there's nothing wrong with argon. There are just, it's kind of like using pure tungsten. Like pure tungsten still works. Even like, 2% thoriated, it works. You can get by with it. Pure argon works just fine. The tri-mixes, though, they do work better. It's kind of like using an old transformer versus using a new inverter type of deal. It can make it a little bit, the inverter makes it easier over the transformer, and this mixed gas makes things a little bit easier and prettier over pure argon. But there's also not a need for it. It's more of a luxury item. MP, when will Everlast release a fan-on-demand welder? Soon. That's the answer, soon. We've got some really cool stuff in development. I think one of the things people forget, they think of Everlast as like an import-only machine, and we just like buy machines from a factory overseas and slap a sticker on them. And that could not be further from the truth. I'm actually on the team, but we've got several people that are always involved in developing new technology, new machine lineups, and we work directly with our factory on that technology for our machines only. So we don't have like a shared platform, with another brand, and then this factory sells, 7 different color machines and they're all the same. We've got a very dedicated spot in that factory for only our technology, only our machines. And we've got a dedicated team here in the US that, trust me, we are relentlessly working on new technology and new machines. That's one of the things I actually came on board with Everlast to do. And we've got, it's funny, this question came up on the Everlast Facebook page like 5 minutes before we got started here. Is Everlast coming out with a new machine? Let me get to Sam and Paul. Let me get to you in a second. Anyway, Facebook page. Somebody asked if Everlast was coming out with a new machine to kind of rival the LCD Dynasty, and the answer is yes. It's been in the works now. We've been updating that machine continually for almost a year and a half, going on probably close to 2 years. We've been working on that machine. It is going to be badass. Release date's probably going to be after the first of the year. We might have one available at FabTech if you're there. We might have one running at FabTech. But yeah, we've got a bunch of new stuff in the works. And we've got an industry first in the works, a machine that no other company currently has out, which I think you guys will be really surprised by. We've kind of cracked the code, so to speak, on a couple things. So I don't want to say any more. But yeah, we've got some really cool stuff coming out real soon. Does Everlast make plasma cutters? Hell yeah, Everlast makes plasma cutters. Boom. Hold on a second. I'm coming back. Hold on. I got tangled up. Does Everlast make plasma cutters? Bam. Right there, 82i. This is a CNC ready machine. It's got a CNC port on the back. Got a CNC port right here on the back side. Comes with a regulator. Comes with an IPT80 torch. It's got a CNC mode. I use this on my CNC table. I've got a CNC plasma table tucked in the back. This is what I use on my CNC plasma table. And come on. This little guy. This was here's some history for you. This is my very first Everlast back in 2009. This was my Power Plasma 50 that I bought, back in like December 2009. My very first Everlast machine. And so we had our camera guy fly in a couple, 2 weeks ago now. And we actually filmed a YouTube commercial, like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook commercial, using my 2009 Power Plasma 50. So yeah, it's a 13-year-old plasma cutter. Still works as good as the day it was new, even though it's beat up, scratched, been rained on, flooded, thrown around in the back of a car. So yeah, I think we even still make this machine. It's a little bit updated, but the Power Plasma I series, CNC ready, absolutely awesome machines if you're looking for a plasma cutter. Not only does Everlast make plasmas, but we also have TIG stick plasmas. We've got the Storm 215. It is MIG plasma. So yeah, we've got single plasma units. These go up to the 102i, which, I mean, 100 amp output. Man, you can cut some serious shit with that thing. The 82 though, I mean, this thing rips. So MP, that's a good question, and that's why we're here. So that case design, there was a shared case design between Everlast and Artec, and what that was basically a play to save money on the case redesign. If you don't know, the case redesigns are extremely expensive. So when we went to our newer case design, which I've got a couple sitting over in the corner, that was the reason why we switched, is because there was too much confusion between was an Artec and Everlast, was an Everlast and Artec. They looked the same outside. The internals were almost completely different. I mean, I don't think there was many shared components besides maybe like a high frequency board. But yeah, that's one of the reasons we went away from that. We also switched factories because of that. So there you go. There's your answer. It's going to release a 300 amp machine at the end of 2022. It's rumored that it will be all digital. I've heard rumors about that Gator Wing. I've heard rumors about it. That's about all I've heard from it, though. Time will tell. I mean, everybody has something. So everybody has something in the works. I mean, we've got a 400 amp machine now that's analog. So there's that. I mean, we got, let's see. Man, I can't keep up with you guys now. Nobody was commenting. All of a sudden, everybody's commenting. Oh. Yeah, typically I've always heard anodizing aluminum. There's a whole bunch of ways of electroplating steel, so that might be part of that. Yeah, I mean there's a ton of different ways to electroplate steel, which is kind of like anodizing. I could see someone using that as a general term. Ba, 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 ba. MP 3-phase is just more. How do you want to? It's more efficient. 3-phase is more efficient. You'll use less amperage. You'll have less draw. They typically run cooler. 3-phase. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, 3-phase is just more efficient. It's not as common here in the States. Generally speaking, 3-phase is like heavy industrial. I worked in several weld shops that didn't even have 3-phase. We might have like, 480 single, but we didn't have, 220 3-phase. We do actually offer the 325 EXT in a 480 volt 3-phase version as well, though. And MP, that the other reason too, because 3-phase is more efficient, it's easier to get a higher duty cycle out of a machine using 3-phase. Just because it has less amp draw overall, you can build a machine cheaper to run 3-phase because it doesn't have to have as much cooling capacity. It's just because it's more efficient. So it's cheaper to build a 3-phase machine than it is a single-phase machine. Basically from an internal aspect. Yeah, the Hatchet 60, that's our like budget-minded, like economic model, if you want to call it. That's like our economic model for a plasma cutter. Still a hell of a machine. We even have like a 25, we have a 25 amp plasma now as well. But I believe it's 110. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't looked at the website for a while because I haven't had a need to. But yeah, I believe we actually have a 25 amp plasma as well. Gator Wing, email me. It's Jesse, Jesse, welders.com. Email me and I'll answer any question you need and try to help you out. MP, I am running a 325 EXT. It's 220 single phase. That's my go-to machine. I mean, God, I've got 4 years on that thing now, doing daily production work. So yeah, it's definitely possible to have a single phase 300 amp machine. That is my go-to, what I run every single day. But Gator Wing, yeah, email me, please. I'll get you taken care of. I'll see what I can work out with you. I've got a couple different ways I can swap things around, and we can help you out. So send me an email, Jesse, Jesse, at everlastwelders.com. Send me an email. I'll respond to you as soon as you email me. So hit me up. Boom, Dustin Apple. There you go. You're my man. So yeah, Dustin, the 25 XTR, it's a 10 to 25 amp, 120 volt input plasma cutter. There we go. I got my own little backup crew. All right, so here we are now, twice as long talking as we were actually welding stuff. So I'll see you guys next week. We'll figure something out. I am going to start showing you guys some work on some larger projects. So I'll be more away from the microphone. Richard, I'll get to you in a second, dude. I do want to get to moving to some larger projects. And so I'll be stepping away from the computer more and actually working from like working inside that truck. Richard, is that the Parker spool gun? I'll tell you what, Richard, hit me up on Facebook or email me real quick. We'll figure out what's going on. Anyway, see you guys next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. Anyway, I'll catch up to you guys in the comments. You guys are commenting so fast, I can't keep up. Anyway, sayonara. See you guys next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. 7:01. Adios. I will catch up to you. Email me.